Howard, your executive gardener here. Hey, listen, this is going to be a special episode. Many of you know that I've been doing some composting with worms, so and getting castings for my plants. So I don't know what's in store for today. This is the first time that I'm going to harvest the castings from this Tupperware bin. So I have African night crawlers in this Tupperware bin. It's a pretty good sized bin. And these African night crawlers, as I've told you before, they require probably around 60 to 70 degree weather. So I've been keeping them in my garage with a small heater, space heater in the garage. And I think they've been doing pretty good. So I think I put about 250 in originally. So they do multiply relatively quick. So I have no idea what I'm in store for. So hope you watch this video and go along for the ride with me, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, in this episode, I'm going to kind of see if I can clean out the castings. I'm going to use, I learned this from a guy, Larry Hall, most of you know, has a channel. So I got what he had said, kind of a wire mesh paper holder from Office Depot. And it will serve as a sifter, kind of like people that are sifting for gold will pour the dirt in here. The worms and everything will stay on top, and then the fine castings will come out of the bottom. And then I have a handy dandy rake tool that I'll show you once we kind of get into the worm bin to see what's kind of going on there as far as the harvesting goes. You'll also notice some other things like some of the other bugs and stuff that'll be in there with the worms. So at the end of the day, I'll show you how much castings I get. So this thing's been sitting for about 2 months, and I guess I'm impatient. I want to see what it looks like. The other thing I'm going to be doing is they always recommend to use plastic gloves or latex type gloves. Apparently for some of these things like the African night crawlers, the oil on your hands can be detrimental to them. So stay tuned. I'm going to take the camera off the tripod, get kind of down and dirty into the worm bin, and we'll take a look to see what type of black cold castings we have. Stay tuned. Hey, Jeff back here. Take a look at this worm bin. So you'll see the bin on kind of the inside. When you open it up, there's some baby worms in there that are on the side, but they'll gravitate down to the bottom. But you'll see there's some uneaten fruit. But take a look at this. I'm going to use, it'll wait for a second to tune in here. But I'm going to use this rake and take a look at, look underneath there, man. Look at all those black castings. So if you take a look here, I probably have, my goodness, 4 inches deep under the newspaper of black castings to use for my soil. So these worms have just done a tremendous job for me in creating castings. As you'll see, there's newspaper on top, but down beneath there, and I'll see if I can tune in. I apologize for the camera work, but that's some rich, rich black castings. And throughout here, there's some uneaten fruit and some other stuff. For the most part, though, the worms have done their job, and I'm very pleased. So, I'm going to work on this and kind of show you what I'm going to do to sift through here. But this is kind of the inside of the bin, and interesting enough, you see all along the side of the bin, the black stuff there is all worm castings. So just incredibly healthy stuff. So I'll tune you in here in a little bit, and we'll take a look at how to sift through this stuff and separate the worms from the castings and the other paper and stuff. Hey everybody, take a look at this. So here's a little bit of the castings I have. I have a whole tub full of it. I mean a whole tub. It's really unbelievable. If you take a look at this, I mean, it's just unbelievably rich. It's like dark, rich coffee grinds, and there's still some baby worms that are in there. I'm trying to sift through, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the castings out of the bottom. I'll sift through it. I'll throw back the eggshells and the vegetables and all that stuff, and I'm going to take the castings and put them in a separate container and probably dry them out a little bit and sift it a little bit more and get all the worms out. But this would be, you saw the tub that I had, and let me just show you real quick. That's the tub. And if you take a look at the tub, I mean, there's a whole, there's just an absolute whole bunch of castings I still have to to get to, and I'm not sure, it's my first time doing this, how exactly I'm going to get to all of it, but I'll figure it out. But anyway, this is just an indication of how much fresh worm castings I got from just a fraction of the African night crawlers. It's absolutely unbelievable. If you are not composting with worms, you really should. It's easy. They do all the work. Just throw your food scraps in there, some newspaper, and they do the work for you. This is referred to as black gold. So this is the first of many castings. I have the worm in, I have the worm factory, and another big bin between red wigglers and African night crawlers. But as you can see, my plants are going to love this. I mean, just take a look at that. This absolutely thick, black, rich worm castings for my plants. So hope you enjoyed this episode. I got to figure out what I'm going to do here with all these worm castings and get the other bin up and going, because I want to get a little bit more castings before I clean it out. You won't have these type of issues if you go with something like, and I'm not here to promote the worm factory or the worm in, but they make it a little bit easier for you to harvest your castings. It's a little bit tougher if you used Tupperware tubs or Rubbermaid tubs like I did. So I would definitely, if I look between the worm factory and the worm in, I think the best one's probably the worm in. It's easiest to harvest the castings, in my opinion. So hope you enjoyed this episode from the Executive. Everybody, Jeff over here. Hey, listen, I decided I'm going to do this, but this is the worm in. This is the bag. It's got a screen on top and bag on the bottom. And the bottom it's got a kind of a duffel bag tie. So what you do is, the concept is that this was loaded with fruit scraps and vegetables. And as the compost is made, the worms go up to where the food is, and they get out of their own castings or poop. And so what fundamentally what should happen is that the casting should be on the bottom when I open this. So I'm going to try it real quick, and this is first time experience for me with my worm in, so you'll see what I get. It's like opening a new gift the first time I get it. So I'm going to sneak behind the bag here, but Jenna, my daughter, is on camera. She'll make sure that you see what goes on. But let me untie this and see what happens. So as I open the bag, we'll kind of see what comes out. I'll reach my hand up there, and it appears to be castings, but I gotta probably untie this a little bit more. It's a pretty tight tie, and let's see what I get. Yeah, so there's definitely castings, and there's some newspaper that's combined in here, but there's definitely worm castings. And what's interesting about this is that as I reach in here, there doesn't seem to be any worms in my hand, meaning that they have gone up the bag and they're not on the bottom of the bag anymore. So as you can see here, they're castings, but I gotta tell you, man, this is a lot easier than doing the Tupperware, because with the Tupperware you have to sort through the worms and some of the newspaper and all the other stuff. With this, you just have some newspaper to pick out, but there's no worms here. It's perfect. So you know, I don't get paid to endorse the worm in, but I'll tell you, if you don't have it, I'd encourage you to do it. It's a lot easier than doing just a typical Tupperware Rubbermaid bin. So anyway, I've got castings from the worm in. First time I've done it. Looks like I've got some good castings, and I'll use for these as my plant as well. Thanks for watching.